not been feeling very well, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit today about connecting to your spirit guide. My spirit guide's name is Robin, and I started connecting with her when I was 4. As it turns out, having intuitive ability and being spiritually connected has run in my family, and my great grandmother had it. So when I started showing signs of being able to do that, it was very supported by my grandmother and other family members. We just kept it in my family because, other than that, I was brought up in a very Christian household. So um, my grandmother was afraid that people wouldn't understand it. But she told me that I had a guide and that we all do. And they basically are our connection between living this human existence and also connecting to God and the angels and our intuition. So my guide I've connected with in about 42 lifetimes, and I've had a total of about 43. So I understand from my guide Robin that she asked God, when I got ready to incarnate in this lifetime, if I could have a very strong connection with her in this lifetime and hear her and see her and things like that. And it was granted because I had gone through a lot of spiritual learning and evolution in previous lifetimes. And again, she had been with me through virtually all of them. So in this lifetime, I do see her and hear her. And many times people ask, like, how do you know it's that and not like some kind of mental illness experience? And mainly when someone is suffering from an hallucination or mental illness, it holds them back or is detrimental to their success or causes them struggles in their life. And connecting to Robin and having that connection with my guide has only elevated my life and only helped my life to be better and only brought me joy and gratitude and a stronger connection to God. So that's kind of how you know the difference. But we all have guides, and sometimes we have a different one in one lifetime than we do in the lifetime we're in now. It all depends on your spiritual journey and the lessons that you've learned and that you still need to learn. And from my understanding, most guides have at one point or another been a human being, been, incarnated as a human. So they do understand our struggles and what we go through. But usually their incarnation was a long, long time ago. And so they're very angelic and on the same vibration as like angels. And sometimes our loved ones that have passed away are granted the ability to be a guide for us as well. So if you have a loved one that you feel very closely watches over you, often they are an assistant to your guide or your main guide, and your spirit guide kind of gives them the reins. So that is possible. But in order to have a stronger connection with your guide, it's important to build a vocabulary. And because I've connected with my guide since the age of 4, I have a very vast vocabulary that I've built with my guide. For example, when I see a white rose, when she shows me a white rose, if I'm doing a reading, I know that it means a wedding anniversary. If she shows me a pink rose, I know that it means a friendship budding into what could be a romantic relationship. If she shows me water like an ocean moving a lot, I know person is in transition in their life or about to make a big move, either at work or at home. And depending on the color of the ocean and the state of it is kind of how I interpret whether the move has to do with something work related or like a move to a different home or something. So through all these years, because I'm now 43, I've continued to build that vocabulary, and um, that's why images can come through when I'm doing readings very quickly, and I know how to interpret them because I've worked with her on this for a long time. And sometimes I hear her and see her, but that takes a lot more energy, and that's why it's important to build your vocabulary of images and symbols with your guide because that allows you to get information really quickly. So the way to start is to pick an area in your house that is quiet, that can kind of be your area. It can be in your room, it can be in a den, it can be in an office, wherever you can get a little bit of quiet and space to yourself. And close your eyes and just make it known that this is going to be your sacred space. And when you're in it, try to choose a time of day that's consistent, whether it be in the morning when you first wake up, or at night right before you go to sleep, or after dinner, or before breakfast. Whenever you choose, pick a time and stay consistent with it, and just sit quietly and say, I'd like to connect with my guide, and close your eyes and see if you sense anything. If you don't, that's okay. Just keep doing it, and with time, you will make the connection. A lot of times, your guide will have an an ethnic quality, or an accent, or look a certain way that represents a lifetime that you had that was very significant. So, for instance, Robin has dark hair and very olive skin. She looks a little bit Egyptian, and I learned through past life regression that I had a very important past life in Egypt as part of our royal family, and there was a lot of lessons about learning to love and understand people of different classes and different cultures. But that life was very significant. So I know if I was ever to go to Egypt, I would probably feel very, very drawn to that country. It doesn't mean that that's necessarily where I'm from in this lifetime. It just means that I've had an important lifetime in an area with those traits or characteristics, or with those ancestral ties. So sometimes your guide will carry or have traits relating to a lifetime that you had that was very significant, that may still be impacting your life now. And if you were, again, to go to those places, you'd feel very connected. So start by finding a quiet place, picking a time where you think you can be consistent, and sit in that space comfortably for about 5 minutes. Just close your eyes and ask to connect to your guide. And then throughout the day or the next day, when you sit in your space and do that, ask your guide to give you a sign for everything is going to be okay. Like a sign that will always let you know everything is going to be okay. So for me, that sign is literally music notes, because music always helps me no matter what's going on. So if I see music notes in a reading, when I'm doing a reading for someone, I know it means that everything's going to be okay for them. And if I'm really worried about something that's going on in my life and I want to know, how it's going to work out, if I see the music notes, I know that that's my sign that everything will work out. And once you establish a sign or a symbol with your guide to mean something specific, like everything's going to be okay, those signs and symbols stay consistent. So they don't change. So that will always be my sign that everything's going to be okay. It can also be a sign in a reading that someone is really musical, also, but it depends on how they're presented and all those kinds of things. So it's a very intimate, detailed process to build your vocabulary with your guide, but as long as you are consistent and dedicated, you can do it, and pretty soon you'll understand what your guide's trying to say, and you'll see signs and you'll see things that'll mean a lot more. So I hope this kind of starts your journey with your guide, and if you have other questions along the way, feel free to email me or text me or comment here, and I'll try to make another video about this or another spiritual topic. I love you guys. Love, light, and angel hugs.